Hey guys, and welcome back to What He Grows Through, episode 6, Q&As. So first off, I just want to apologize to you guys for the long delay. I know it's been a couple weeks since we've released a new episode, but I'm back, and hopefully we can continue to be consistent from here on out. I was just out of town and had some things going, and so I just didn't have time to do another episode. But today's episode is going to kind of touch on some questions that have been asked in the very first video that was ever posted. And I want to make sure that not a long period of time goes by before we actually answer these questions. So I'm really excited. Hopefully this episode will help with the questions that have been asked, and also will help others out there that may be able to relate to these questions that are being asked. So first off, number one question is, do you feel new types of pressure in being a man? For me, I don't feel like there's a pressure per se. I do feel like, a lot of people in the world, they kind of look at it as that a man is supposed to be a specific kind of way, right? Society kind of puts a label on that in the aspect of what makes a man. For me, I don't feel like there's a lot of pressure as far as being a man. I feel like I've always kind of felt those things that have kind of always gradually came along with me throughout my journey, as far as you being a provider or doing things, handy around the house, things like that. Those were all things that I already normally did before. So I don't necessarily feel like I have added pressure to that. I would say that if you have a different outlook on it to where you kind of have that, I guess, facade of what makes a man, that can probably add a lot of added pressure for some people. But I would say my advice to you is to not go into it looking at it like that. Just be genuine, be yourself. There shouldn't be any added pressure because of your gender. You should just be you, be authentic, and just hold true to your values. If you decide to make that transition, then you will eventually, feel that comfort, and will just be okay being you. And even vice versa, for other people that are transitioning from male to female. Just be yourself and try to make sure that you're not adding on unnecessary pressure for no reason. I would just say, for me overall, I don't feel like there's been any added pressure. I just really try to be who I am. Question number 2 is part of, question number 2 is part of question number 1. The example was, such as being expected to fix things. I've never had anybody, I guess, categorize me in that sense of where I feel like I need to be able to fix something. Like I said before, I just carried over, my characteristics and who I was and things like that with my transition. So those things I don't feel like necessarily changed. I think maybe I've had like an increase of other maybe activities that didn't necessarily pique my interest as much before, and things like that. But I don't think I've ever been or felt expected to fix things. And I'm sure that's different for everybody, just because we all come from, you know, different different backgrounds and different or around different people and stuff like that. So me personally, no, I've never had that experience where I was expected to do that. I kind of already, you know, like I said, kind of had those traits and liked to do those things already. And so for me, it wasn't a very big switch. The other would be, the question ties in as far as, you know, added pressure as far as protecting my partner. And for me, I don't know if I could say that there's added pressure. For me, it hasn't ever mattered on gender, again, in the role that I have always played in a relationship. I feel like for me, it's always been very important for my partner to feel safe and feel protected, and feel like if there was an emergency or there was a situation where I needed to protect them, that I would be able to do so. So growing up and being in relationships, I feel like I already kind of had that trait. It's something that I always would want for my partner, is to be able to feel that. And so I wouldn't say any added pressure as far as in that aspect, but it was hard for me to adjust with transitioning and stuff like that, and being, I guess the roles are kind of flipped now, because if I was ever in a situation where I needed to protect my partner and it had involved another male, I think not necessarily that there's an added pressure, but I think at a period of time that was very worrisome for me. And that was just because I never had an altercation with a male after transitioning, right? And so that for me was a little overwhelming, and I would always think of like, what if that happens, and what does that situation look like, and how do I handle that? And so, but I just came to realization that no matter what, I've always kind of been that way, and I've always, the only thing that changes is that if I had to approach somebody, I wouldn't be approaching a female, I would be approaching a male, or, you know, I guess that's not necessarily true. I would be approaching any male or female, depending on the circumstances, the situation, or whatever. But I think where the worrisome came in was if I had to stand up to somebody for my partner and it was a male, how would I do that? How would I feel in that moment? Would I be confident enough within myself? That type of thing. So I always overthought that a lot. So I guess, yes, in that aspect, I guess there would have been a little bit of pressure, just because I would overthink that a lot. But when I came to realize, you know, that it doesn't matter, the only thing that changes is that, I started to feel a lot more comfortable, and just like, I think that also gradually got better as my transition has gone on, because I am more confident in the body that I am in, and feel 100% authentic and feel myself, and I pride myself in that. I carry that with me, and it's not as hard for me I just don't look at it that way anymore. But in the beginning, yes, I would say that for some people and in some situations, that is a that is a valid feeling and something that a lot of people probably do experience and feel. One of the other examples was not wanting to ask for direction. I don't think that you should be ashamed as far as asking for direction in any situation, no matter your role. I think that it is a good thing to really try to work on as far as just being able to ask for what you need. If it's instructions or directions on something, or you just need an answer, it's kind of like one of those things where there's not a dumb question, you know, and it doesn't matter your role of whether you're female or male. Just being able to feel confident within yourself and be able to ask for that help when you need it is important. And I think that if you can really try to find a way to be able to approach that and be able to overcome that, you will see like a shift. I personally didn't ever, I guess, experience that in like having to ask for direction. I think that for me, I find a lot of knowledge within my partner or within the people that I surround myself with and things like that. And so I just think it's important to ask questions. I know that for some people it could be hard, and you might feel like maybe people are gonna judge you, or you should just know that because you're a man or whatever it is. But the reality of it is that we are all human, and no matter gender or role, there's going to be things or directions or stuff that we just don't know. And that's just how it is, because we're human. We don't know everything. And so, yeah, I think for me, no, as far as the directions, but for others, I could see how that could play effect in the journey and the transition. Just again, try not to stereotype yourself, or try not to think that just because your gender has changed that you're you have to be able to do all these things. Because you're a man, you have to be able to know how to change a tire, or because you're a man, you have to know how to use a saw, or because you're a man. Like, don't categorize yourself in that aspect, and try not to look at it that way, because again, it doesn't matter gender, role, anything. A woman is very capable of doing the exact same thing that a man can. And there's lots of women in the world that do a lot of things that men don't do or can't do. So I think for those people that do struggle with this in the beginning, really try to kind of open up your mind as far as that, and really just tune into that. And I think it will be a lot easier for a lot of you guys that do feel that way in the beginning. And even if it is a thought or a feeling, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's how you're going to feel the whole time. A lot of things change throughout the transition. Your mindset, the way you feel about something. I know for me, in the very beginning, there was a lot of things that I felt that I no longer feel now. But it comes with growth, and it comes with progress throughout your transition. It comes with comfort. It comes within feeling authentic and being happy and just being you. So if you do feel like that, just try to, like I said, be open-minded, really navigate through those feelings, and really try to look at the bigger picture. And hopefully at some point there will be a shift that thought process will kind of change for you, and you won't look at things that way, or you won't feel that way. And then one of the other questions is, did you get tons of DMs from women? So for me, no, I did not. In my transition, I had a lot of things that changed and stuff like that. But never, I was in a relationship throughout my transition. My partner was with me, and through all of that. So for me, I never had that experience or anything like that. I'm sure for other people they do. But I did get lots of messages from people that I went to school with, or friends that I hadn't seen for a long time, family, friends, things like that. Once they kind of started seeing my progression pictures and things like that, I had tons of people reach out and just kind of congratulate me on my journey, or tell me that they love the changes that they're seeing, and all of those types of things. So that was kind of a neat experience to be able to get messages from people that I hadn't talked to in years, or that were, close to my family and things like that. So for me, that was a nice experience, and it also kind of made that part of the transition even more enjoyable, because I was starting to see all these changes and things that I loved, and really started feeling myself, and just kind of building that confidence and feeling comfortable within. It was nice to also hear that from other people. And but yes, I'm sure for some people they do have that type of experience. It's different for everybody, and depending on your situation and kind of your lifestyle and what you're living in the moment of your transition, I'm sure that is the case for a lot of people. So with that question, the question was, did you get tons of DMs as a woman? Guys, I really messed up that question. Well, there's a freebie question in there that I threw in myself. Okay, the question was, did you get tons of DMs as a woman? No. I don't think so. At least not that I can remember. I wasn't somebody who was I was very social, I guess, in the aspect of talking to people, making friends, things like that. But I came out at a very young age, and so I was always very tomboyish, things like that. So I didn't get a lot of messages, I guess, from guys or stuff like that. I did get, I guess I did get quite a few messages, I guess, from women, because that's what I was into. So yeah, I mean, I would get messages from girls and things like that, but I've also been somebody who really holds value to a relationship. And so I guess with that being said, I didn't just talk to a bunch of like a bunch of women, or things like that. And the people that I did get messages from were people that I actually built relationships with, friendships, things like that. So it wasn't just like random people messaging me, or random, women or men messaging me, or anything like that. And the other question was, did that go away, or did that end when I became a man? So again, with that being said, that was never my experience, because that wasn't my situation. I was in a relationship and am, in a relationship, and so with that, my partner has been through everything and my transition with me. So as far as getting messages from women, or that stopping after I became a man, there was no shift, because there was nothing to shift around, as far as in that aspect. Now, I'm sure, and I've heard from a lot of people, that can be some experience for some people, and I would say, I guess it just kind of depends on the situation, and which people are messaging you, which people messaged you before, and why they stopped now. Was it people that you had talked to before and had a relationship with, or was this just like random people? They just stopped messaging you because they saw your transition. Again, I'm sure it's different for everybody. If I had to give any type of advice in that aspect, I would just say that if somebody is messaging you before and then they stop messaging you after you've transitioned, and this is how you feel, you're being true to yourself, and you feel authentic, and this is something that you really wanted, as much as you may not be getting those messages anymore, my advice would be that those are messages that you don't want to get anyway. If they're not messaging you because of your transition, and because you did something to benefit you, and you did something where you feel your true authentic self, and you're living your life and being you, you want people that are gonna, 1, support you, 2, love you for who you are, and 3, message you because they want to message you, because they see value in who you are, in being a man, and that you are brave, and that you stood up for yourself, and that you decided to make a change and just be you. So for you people, if you're going through a transition and you have experienced that, that would be my advice for you, is even though that may be hard and you're used to getting messages and things like that, if those things stop, they're bound to pick up at some point or sometime. At some point, you're going to meet people that you're going to want to be a part of your world, and people that are worthy to be a part of your world, and people that should be a part of your journey and a part of your world. The other question is dating more of an uphill battle as a man? Again, for me, I haven't had to have the dating experience, but I would say that dating is dating. I don't think it really matters, again, with gender or role. I think that, when I talk to my guy friends and things like that, as far as dating or stuff like that, it's very similar to what it would be as a woman trying to date, right? Everybody's human, and everybody has good things about them, people have bad things about them. And I think that when it comes to dating, for some people it can come very natural, and for some people it can be a battle, and for some people it is just non-existent because they just don't really care for it. There's just a lot of things that kind of play in that factor, and so I wouldn't say that one is easier than the other as far as that. I think that they're very much the same, and I think that a lot of things can be relatable between both of the genders. And then the last question was, are you expected to make more money than your partner? I think that would depend on whatever relationship that you're in at the moment. Me personally, no, I'm not expected to make more money than my partner. Again, a lot of people in the world has created these statistics, or the way that we should look at a relationship or look at genders. And if you find yourself looking at it that way, then it's going to be very difficult to understand, because it shouldn't matter your role or your gender, anything like that, who makes more money, right? That's something that you would talk about in a relationship. And I don't know about you, but if my partner's doing what they love to do and they're making a more amount of money than me, then by all means, I'm gonna be happy for them, because they're doing what they love and they're pursuing their dreams and it's working out for them. And it shouldn't be frowned upon just because I'm the man and my wife is making more money than me. Like, if that's the case, then that's the case, and good for her, you know? And vice versa. So I would say that it shouldn't matter as far as that. And me, no, I'm not expected to do that. And I don't think that, again, that's just my personal opinion, and for other people it may be different, because again, we all come from different backgrounds and we all view things differently. But in my case, that's not the way that I look at things. It's not the way that I look at a relationship. And it's not the way that I would, I guess, expect myself to be. I would say that for me, my expectation is to be able to make sure that I'm making money and that I'm making money and that I'm providing for my wife and my daughter. And so I think for me, as long as I know that I'm doing those two things, and that I can make sure that they're taken care of and all of that, then to me, that's what matters. To me, if they've got a roof over their head and they have clothes and all of the necessities and things like that are taken care of, that's what I want for myself, for my partner. And I would hope that that's how it would be for everybody else, and that they're not expected, or that we hold these people to these high expectations of these things that we want that they might not want, right? So I think it's just very important to kind of look at it that way. And if you feel like you're being held to an expectation that you don't agree with, then at that point, that's probably something that you should bring up with your partner and try to talk it out to see if it can't be something that can be fixed. Because you don't want to be held to an expectation that you don't feel like you want to hold up to, or that it's a necessity and that you're unhappy doing so. You want to make sure that you're comfortable, and that everybody's happy in that situation. So that kind of concludes all of the questions that we had. And I apologize for in the beginning how I kind of said question number one. Question number one kind of prolonged and persisted in all the other questions of like categories of where the pressure was coming from. So I hope that I was able to kind of break that down for everybody, and that you guys find this information helpful. Again, a part of the reason why I did the Q&As is because I didn't want these questions to go unanswered for a long period of time, and we have specific people that are watching and wanting these answers. And eventually we will touch base on these questions again, but with one of my friends that is also trans, because I would really like to touch base with somebody else and be able to get their experience on this, and if it was the same for them, and also kind of just see the answers that they come up with, because our journeys are very different. And you know, it is different for me being in a relationship versus them not being in a relationship, or you know, dating and that type of aspects. So eventually we will get back to these questions, and hopefully those will be helpful as well for everybody. So for now, again, I hope this helped you guys, and again, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in and supporting me, and hopefully from now we can keep that consistency. If there's going to be a gap in between episodes, I will try to let you guys know beforehand, but for now I'm still going to try to do my episodes and release them every Thursday. Thanks so much, and I hope you guys have an amazing day, and remember that I'm super grateful for you and grateful for your support. So thanks. Love you guys. Bye.